My name is Jamin Gurker. I'm a realtor in South Central Alaska, and I'm actually training to run the Resurrection 100, which is a 100-mile race in the backcountry on Resurrection Pass down in Kenai, Alaska, in the Kenai Peninsula. So this is really exciting. I've spent quite a bit of time running before, just in my days with running on the Angelo State University track and cross country team. I earned all conference honors and actually did have the 10,000 meter record for that school for a couple of years. Somebody broke it just a little bit ago. But now I'm transitioning over into doing more of the ultra distance, like long distance stuff. So, 10K is just over 6 miles, and a 100-mile race is obviously something completely different. So I'm really excited about this challenge. The race is going to be coming up really in the summer of 2023. So I've got a little bit of time. The past 6 months to a year, I've really been focusing more on building muscle, which you really couldn't tell just by looking here. But believe me, I have been getting some gains, but they are all about to go away because it's time to slim down again, because I am jumping into the ultra distance sphere, and obviously going to continue the weight workouts in there, make sure that keep a certain amount of muscle in there, because that actually does prevent you from getting injured if you stay in the weight room as a runner. So I'm looking forward to it. Some of the obstacles I'm going to be running into along the way, obviously the volume, even with starting this far back, that is a lot of volume to have to ramp up. Luckily with the training, you don't have to run fast when you're doing the ultra distance stuff, which for me at least, I do actually end up getting injured a lot easier when I'm going faster as opposed to just doing a lot of miles really slow. So that's going to be something I really got to look out for. Another issue I'm running into is, I'm no spring chicken anymore. I'm not in my 20s where I can't just, bounce back quickly from injuries or twisted this or twisted that. In my 30s now, and I'm still healthy, and I'm still eating correctly and doing all the stuff that I need to do. But you just don't have that 20-year-old metabolism and bounce back as quickly as I did before. So mentally, that's going to be a big shift for me, because I'm used to just kind of being able to just power through my training and just gut through any kind of pain or discomfort I'm having. And there's definitely going to be days where that's going to have to happen, but I also have to be better at this phase of my life, and just understanding, hey, let's back off of this a little bit. I don't mind having a sports injury if it's necessary, but this is a long race here, and you just have to make sure you get there in one piece. And that's really going to be the biggest thing that's going to help. Actually, in college, that's kind of the way it worked too. It was a battle of attrition, and whoever got to the championships, the most healthy and the most injury-free, usually was going to win, or at least have the best shot. So kind of some of the same concepts there, just at a more extreme level. So that's going to be a big adjustment for me to make. I'm also used to just going really quickly, but the days of just dropping 6:15 minute per mile runs on a 10-mile run and calling it good, that's probably not going to happen anymore. I need to be able to get my training up to where I'm doing probably about 18, 20 plus miles a week on a long run. And that's going to be the most important part of what I do, and it's going to have to be at a much slower pace than what I was doing before. So I'll probably do a little bit of speed work as I get a little bit closer, just to kind of shake things up a little bit, do some fartleks. Probably not a whole lot on the track. Me personally, I cannot stand the track, running on it at least. I feel like I'm running on a hamster wheel. But I'm probably going to be doing a little bit of it, just to kind of shake it up and avoid some of the monotony of putting in as much mileage as I need to be doing. So another big obstacle I'll be running into, I'm just not diagnosed, but years of not stretching as much as I needed to has kind of left my lower back really kind of stiff and sore after a lot of runs. And I was talking with somebody a little bit ago, probably it's the psoas, which is a muscle, a tendon. I don't know what the exact term is. If you know what it is, post it down below. But what it is it's muscle that connects on your inner thigh and then runs up and connects to your lower back. And if you haven't been stretching correctly, especially over an extended period of time, those get really tired and they don't really get stretched as well unless you're like really conscious about doing it. And what they can start doing is it's two separate muscles, and if they're not stretched, or I guess unstretched at the same level, they start pulling in different directions. So, really just making sure I'm staying on top of that. Also, it's Alaska and I'm starting my training in the winter time. It was snowing this morning as I was out there running, and not a whole lot right now. It's still pretty clear roads and everything, but it's just a matter of time till we have that. I went and got a bunch of gear just a little bit ago, a lot of smart wool, so I'll let you know if I think that was worth the investment or if it's just, expensive, expensive running gear. Time will tell. But I decided I'm gonna do it right and not try to just layer up with a ton of stuff from Walmart. I'm gonna make sure that it's good quality gear that I can be comfortable in and not have to grit my teeth as much as I had to in my 20s with all the shoestring budget that I had. So yeah, so there's that obstacle. Staying warm, that's gonna be a big one. Don't have the greatest circulation, believe it or not, even with all the running that I've done. So not great, kind of concerning, thinking about where I would be if it weren't for that. And man, it is windy out there. I can actually hear the wind coming through the door right now. So yeah, that's awesome. Looking forward to it. If you want to, come along for the journey, feel free to. This isn't going to be the typical just Alaska stuff. This is going to be a little bit more of a look kind of into something that I'm really passionate about. And what I'm also going to be doing every week is just kind of sharing with you some of my thoughts, running thoughts from a book that I'm finishing up. I do read a book a week. And this week I'm reading Wise Mind Living. So this is pretty good stuff. A lot of it is, not necessarily big, revolutionary, or groundbreaking, but what it does is it does kind of point you back to kind of the classic therapy things that therapists talk about quite frequently, which is identify your emotions, what it is you're feeling in the moment, dive a little bit deeper and figure out exactly where those are coming from. One interesting thing that she says in this book is that it's not a good idea to necessarily try to go all the way back to like some root event. So that might not always be something that's applicable. One running idea I did have as I was running is we spend so much time visualizing. She kind of talks about it in here. Spend so much time visualizing stuff and worst case scenarios, and you have a confrontation with somebody coming up and you just start getting yourself all worked up and thinking, okay, what if he or she says this? What if this happens? What if this happens? Well, I'm going to react this way, and I'm going to put my foot down, and I am just going to, put the hammer to them. Well, probably not the best way to do it, because your mind doesn't know the difference between you thinking it and it actually happening, and you're going to have that bodily reaction to it. So lately I've decided to just kind of take this tack that anytime like this high level of just anxiety comes from visualizing something like that, I need to just let it go and just treat it as though it's the emotional equivalent of a cigarette. Okay, no, I'm not gonna take that. It's gonna have a very detrimental impact on my health. And conversely, I'm not gonna start visualizing worst case scenarios and start getting myself worked up about something that hasn't even happened yet. Instead, I'm gonna try to visualize having a good conversation with that other person and just saying, hey, well, just having a good reconciliation kind of conversation where there's good communication going each way, there's transparency, you can actually see the other person's side, and try it as like, this does make it a little bit easier dealing with this particular situation. So just a thought. This is just a knucklehead in Alaska having runners, having some thoughts as I'm out there running, so take it for what it is. So thanks for watching. I'm looking forward to this journey. Let me know if you have any questions. If you happen to be in the area and you'd like to go for some long runs, do make sure you reach out to me on my Facebook page down below, and we'll see you next week.